want to make sure I'm not muted. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the show. I thought 12 was the last number. I thought I wasn't going to do any more ominous morning shows, but hey, here we are. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're catching me in the replay, I really appreciate it. Please, before I continue, don't forget to hit that like button. The like button obviously, apparently, helps with the visibility of the video on YouTube. So hit that like button. It would help me out tremendously, so we can get more eyes on all of the projects that we look at, all of the comics that we look at here on the Ominous Morning Show. I was seriously contemplating changing the name, but it's obviously the morning somewhere everywhere. No, so welcome to the morning show. It's the morning here where I'm at, so I can get away with it. But yes, so welcome to this newest, latest edition of the Ominous Morning Show. Today, I have the tremendous pleasure and honor of bringing on a guest who is we've we've uh, we've been friends for a while now, and we haven't had the chance to really talk. So we're going to do that today, and it's going to be really interesting. And yeah, and so this person is jumping into the world of indie comics, and boy oh boy, what a choice he made. But we'll take a look at his project. The art looks great. It's done by Luke Stone, which I'm sure you know is the creator, the organizer, the founder of FundMyComics, where many of our projects are hosted on. Hopefully, one day I can put my project on there too. But yeah, so it's a pleasure to have him here, and I don't want to take up any more time. So please, without any further ado, welcome to the show, my friend AC Pritchard. I hope I pronounced his name correct. Please, round of applause for AC. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just want to say thanks for having me on. Like you said, we've been friends for a while. Long overdue. Long overdue.
Yeah,
Got to have you on my podcast as well. You got a
yeah,
couple of minutes if you wanna do a more interview like this, you can
yeah.
come with me and my wife, or if you want to talk about like something specific like a movie or something, or more like straight up like guy talk, I guess is the pub, guy talk. Yeah, would be the best way to put it. You could come on to the Iron Seas with me and the boys.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I remember that you had mentioned a while back that you were going to do talks and reviews about movies that had come out at the time, and yeah, that sounds great.
Hmm.
Um, we'll definitely put schedule that soon, and yeah, it would be great to show up on your show,
Yeah, my
and yeah, man.
wife
So
actually just reminded me that you are on my show, so yeah, we got you in.
awesome.
Little,
That's
yeah,
right.
we
We're
got you in.
scheduled.
Yep,
So
yep.
exclusive news for everybody in the chat. I will be appearing on AC's show, I think in 2 weeks. So look forward to that. I'll be sure to post information about the video and everything on my Twitter. So please follow me there. Remember also that my information and AC's information is also in the description below. So please check that out.
Yes,
And
yes.
I was actually surprised because you're not just a writer. You actually dip your toes in everything. You have music, you write books, and there's a lot to digest there. So could you
Hmm.
please tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you here to our neck of the woods?
Well, as you said, like I do a little bit of everything. I uh, I consider myself these days mainly like an author or a writer. Um, this year, I'm a comic book creator. I did some writing for my free content just to you know keep my feet wet, so to speak.
Yep.
Um, which episode 3 of that is going on the Substack pretty soon. It's been done for a while. I just wanted to give it one more good edit, but got caught up with all this stuff. But yeah, like podcasting, I got a couple shows. Uh, uh, Music, I got like a over 20 song discography and like a decade under my belt of like live performing and stuff. I've even like been a movie review columnist for the local newspaper and everything. So I've had a column at one point in time with a press pass even. that was pretty crazy, you know. But yeah, now I'm doing comics. I'm trying to get the graphic novel out there just to have branches in every direction, make connections and friends with comics, and just see where the road takes me. You know what I mean? And it'd be cool to have one story that's like in every format too. If I get this, it'll be the last format aside from like video. You know, we're not quite at live action level yet for the orcs over here, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah, eventually it would be great if it gets to that. No, so
Yeah.
the name of your comic is A Saga of Sunsets. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're saying that this comic, the comic form is the latest rendition of this. Like it's existed before as a novel, as a book.
Yeah. It's actually a short story, which is how I'm able to give it a defined beginning and a defined end. Because it's a short story, so it ends at the end, you know. So
Nice.
a lot of people I know, they get caught up on the cliffhanger stuff, and like maybe get intimidated by fantasy right off the bat because all of it seems so dense. Like as opposed to superhero fantasy, right? Like superhero fantasy, you can kind of just jump in because you know it's a superhero story. Like look at The Incredibles. They kind of did the entire Superman plot with both their movies, where they say, yeah, there's villains, there's superheroes, yeah, but it's about the family, right? The Superman plot, to clarify, I mean, is like the plot about Superman is very rarely about he superhero punches bad guy in face. How do you do that for like an hour or like for the entire episode? You know what I mean? So like in Superman's power is he like beats everybody. He's Superman. So the real good, I mean, historically good, well written Superman plots always involve like he can't get along with Lois, or like his family is in trouble, or he's struggling with like his heritage. You know what I mean? There's all that gritty human stuff, because at the end of the day, he is an alien trying to be human. So that's cool. The heart in conflict with itself is also another, like Superman. If you wanted to, you could throw a whole bunch of really interesting writing devices at Superman. So when somebody takes a superhero story and kind of or like not even just a superhero story, but like we'll be more specific and say Superman, when they just take him and just kind of like do the obvious surface level thing, you can kind of tell that they're not really a fan of Superman, and at least in particular. But I digress. People are intimidated by the density of fantasy, so I wanted to give this a defined ending. I decided a short story would be perfect to adapt it into a comic or a graphic novel. Originally, it was going to be 3 issues, but I decided, just get her done, rip the Band-Aid off, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's what many people say. Because especially me in my case, like I try my best to make sure that I cover every aspect of the comic, and I work on this, I work on the art and the writing, and try to get everything just precise before I launch it. But I've been told many times just the best thing to do is just go ahead and launch something out, and so yeah, that's great. And so
Oh, that's a thing, like just launch it out.
Yeah, like people, I mean, people recommend that, like, just because the idea is, or at least from the artistic point of view, from an artist standpoint, like your first comic is never going to be good. So no matter what you do, it's going to suck because you're starting out with it. So
Yeah.
so it's good to like just draw panels, work on your sequential storytelling, and there's a lot of things involved with it. I've learned a lot in my last 2 years doing working on my own IP, and so yeah, it is true. It is true to a great extent that just go for it is probably the best thing to do. So I mean,
I like to.
the second and the third and the fourth ones, they'll obviously get better. No, but it's always good to just start. No, I think it's a good idea.
Well, I'm glad I'm on the right path there, and I like to think I have a little bit of hopefully I have a little bit of a stronger foundation than the average, like, oh, first comic, my first comic, whatever, because of the foundation of adapting it from my short story, which is right off the back of me finishing my 150,000 word novel, which is in editing right now. That actually is like my next goal after this, is to get the thick novel out there that's just sitting there ready to go. So
how many pages?
150,000 words, so
Okay.
probably in the 300s of pages, maybe
150,000 words. Oh
400s.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought for a second
yeah.
you said 150,000 pages. I was like, wow, that's a big book.
Whoa, no, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know about that. That's like
But
Wheel of Time.
yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
And how are you approaching the fantasy aspect? You said that it's not like your normal superhero thing, and you have to explain key elements like what they wear, where they live, names of towns, places, traditions. How are you approaching that? Because people, I say this because many people are. There's actually, I think, two sides. Like there's one group of people that say, "Give me all the information up front, and then I'll jump into the story." And there's other people say that no, I don't like info dumps. Reveal it to me little bit by little. How are you approaching that?
Dude, that's a great question for starters. But yeah, this story, because it was a companion short story with the others in the book that I published,
Yeah.
the whole idea of that book was like 3 historical moments set within my fantasy world, which is the world of my novel that I had just got done writing, and I still had some steam left in the engine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I decided to write out these 3 historical events. So, needless to say, going into it, I had a clear vision in my mind of what this world looks like, kind of how it operates. When I decide to make the orc story, I'm like, I'm gonna really delve into orcs in my world. That's kind of what the 3 stories in my book are doing. It's a little bit of a highlight of 3 of the major races of my world. There's the humans, the reptilians, and the orcs, right? And the orc story happened to just be the one that Luke Stone found the most appealing when I pitched the 3 to him. Shout outs to Mark Hatherley. He's another traditional artist veteran that and I mean veteran in both terms. He's been like doing art his whole life, but also he's a military veteran. But Mark got the human story. I'm shopping around for the reptilian story. I think I hit you up back in the day even, and I think you were busy at the time, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's one story still available, brother. So we'll see where the road takes us. But yeah, for this one, I was just like, I'm going to highlight the orcs. I'm going to really zoom in on them. And I had a bunch of info already going into it. So it largely just kind of became a parade of characters. I literally had so much fun just because I was like, I'm like wearing the world building like it's the shirt on my back. It is
Nice.
it like I went into it with such a fluid mindset about it, not a fluid mindset, but like a smooth, well established mindset that I could just willy nilly toss information out there, like it's nothing. So like, for example, these are the Halafri orcs, which is like a tribe, but like I didn't have specific tribes going into it, but I knew that like the orcs are a like polar, admittedly more hairy than Luke Stone interpreted them as here. They're a little bit more like, like Neanderthal like, right?
Okay.
But I knew they had like tribes and they were nomadic and stuff like that. And I kind of had all these ideas of like the things that they valued. So I could just passively like toss that out there as I'm parading these characters along. And I kind of did it in a way where I confidently I assume that what I'm talking about. And the only things I'm kind of just like tossing in your face are really just names, right?
Okay.
Names of places and stuff. But these places didn't exist until this story, and none of this stuff existed until this story. So it's pure world building. It is just 100% world building, but in a very passive, casual, like I casually mentioned that place, moving on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm like parading these characters. I'm like, hey, here's this character. There's their backstory. There's that character. There's their backstory. Because it's kind of like this protagonist here on screen.
Yeah.
He's like the Jarl. If for those familiar with Viking lore, you can think Skyrim, like the king of the city, basically the governor. Yeah, but he's like the Jarl, so he kind of like sizes everybody up as I present them, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that dude's like, this is what I think of them," and I can't believe he's famous for doing this thing that one time, and then it's like a very quick, like 1 or 2 paragraph at most flashback, and then he comes back in and like elaborates with a thought, and then we move on to the next thing, and like I said, it's a parade of characters. Once I establish all of them, they all kind of have their side lore attached to it, and what ends up happening is like there's a lot that's established without me actually directly expositing everything because of the nature of like the protagonist kind of like ruminating and sizing everybody up, right? So like I said, great question, man. I could keep going about it, but like that's one of the things I'm proud of actually, is how I like tossed the world building out there, you know.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, sweet. And before I continue with the next one, I want to say hi to the people in the chat that showed up. Really appreciate it. We got Bat Sauce. I think this is the first time that you hang out with us, man. What's going on? Thank you very much for stopping by. And we got Repairman Jack. What's going on, man? Good to see you. And Dennis, what's up? ¿Cómo estamos, Dennis? Un gusto de verte. Dennis is my Peruvian compatriot.
Hell yeah.
And Jolly Green, what's going on, man? Good to see you. And just to Bad Sauce's comment, Luke Stone is not this is not his first time doing comics. He's been doing comics for a long time.
Another veteran.
So he knows his way around the comic board. So what was your how did you get in contact with Luke? How did that come about? How did you like select the artists for your story? Was there a specific type of aesthetic that you were looking for, or how did that happen? How did that come about?
Another good question here. So I actually used to go pretty hard on Twitter back in my band days, and I got up to like 10,000 followers, but have since like restarted, deleted that. I took like a 7-year hiatus or something just from the internet in general, kind of when like I got disillusioned with like the industry and like kind of social media in general, like when you start realizing they're just kind of farming data, and like certain things it's not like necessarily a fair system, so to speak, because of like things like the algorithm and stuff, you know what I mean? Got disillusioned with that. But when I came back and rejoined Twitter and stuff, I was really like in this like my book was done already, Elliot. It was done already. So I was like, hey, it's very much like walking back into the world with a book under my arm and a kid under my other arm and a wife by my side. When the last time I was at this place, I was a lone wanderer, you know what I mean?
Nice.
So I came back and I'm like, yo, where the artists at? Where are the writers at? Where are the podcasters at? Let me in. And basically I had like a YouTube I had the people I watched on YouTube, and I basically was able to import a lot of followers that way, like finding people essentially. And that's kind of where I found my foothold on Twitter is kind of just basically the people who follow the people that I was interested in on YouTube at the time. Now, a lot of those, as once you follow like one artist, you can kind of start building a spider web of other artists. And it's the same with writers and stuff too. So I found a good initial chunk when I came back, and because Elliot, when I started my book, it was originally a comic. I'm not gonna lie, I've wanted to do comics for a long time. My 150,000 word novel originally started in my mind as a single panel. I see it in my mind still. It's a single panel of like a colonial ship, like a fantasy colonial ship with like a badass female pirate at the lead, and she's got all these reptilian like honor guards at her side, and they're blasting a pyramid on this undiscovered island with like cannons, and all the people are like and it's like that evolved into something way different. Like now it's a novel, and you're in that female pirate's eyes, and she's not a pirate now, she's like a normal person essentially, and pregnant of all things. So bro, it started off as a comic. So when I came back into Twitter with the finished product as a novel under my arm, and it's so different now. I knew right off the bat, I'm like, I need to find artists, at least for book covers and stuff.
Yeah.
And so Luke was one of those that I got algorithmed, or I got wind of, and some, yeah, and you're one of them too, to be honest. So like whatever you're doing right too.
Nice.
Because there's a certain amount of you guys that were kind of just handed to me based on who I already followed and was interested in and stuff. But once I got that initial list, I was able to kind of go through and weigh it. Like, yeah, there is a certain aesthetic. Like Luke, you and Luke are kind of similar in a certain sense. Like that's kind of why I hit you up too. Like there is a certain aesthetic that I like. You know, I'm a fan of like anime, and like part of my childhood is like cartoons. Like, yeah, I did watch like the original Spider-Man cartoon and stuff, and like all the American stuff. Yeah, but like I also watched like Dragon Ball Z, you know, and that is cell shading and all that, you know, and but with like a still like subtly realistic look. I don't know. Yeah. So around that same time I hit you up, I was also hitting Luke up because I was kind of inquiring, you know, and yeah, we hit it off. He told me his prices, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get back to you when I got the money. Shortly after that, he appeared on Iron Age Nights with A Drink with Crazy, if you're familiar with that. And so I got to extensively for like 2-3 hours listen to him talk about himself and his work and stuff. So like immediately after that, I went back to him and I was like, no, I for sure want you as an artist. So yeah, like let's lock it in. I said, like, I'm going to take my first X amount of money that I make from my Amazon book and just put it right into like the first art, which is that page that you just had pulled up with all the clouds and stuff. That's the first thing Luke did for me. Was that?
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to open
one of the first things.
Sweet. I'm trying to open the FundMyComic page. For some reason it's not loading for me, but I'll get it up in just a second. And
oh, no worries, brother, no worries. But yeah, it's just been a joy, you know, so far. A lot of people, you know, you do kind of inevitably see some of the comic drama that's kind of that kind of unfolds, but you know, you don't have to participate in it. And if somebody, I know the term fence sitter is a thing. Like some people might view you as a fence sitter if you don't take a side and join a tribe or whatever. But like, I don't know. At the risk of being a fence sitter, I like to just get along with everybody and focus on the art, you know?
Yeah.
So even with all that, it's exciting. So.
No, yeah. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on, a lot more, I think, now than there has been in the last few years. But yeah, I mean,
That's true.
We're creators. Everybody's got egos, and everybody's says something that someone else finds offensive. And I mean, drama's always going to be a thing in the indie scene. And it's just got to learn to
we're a bunch of sharks that like are just fiending for blood. Like we all want to bite us. We're all hungry, dude. Like so we sometimes see another shark and we're just like, you look fucking tasty, dude. I'm just gonna take a big old bite out of that. You got blood, right? Like
yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. And
humans, man.
Yeah, definitely. So I was going to ask you about writing a novel versus writing a comic, because those two are completely different things.
Yes, they are.
But you told me that your original idea was in comic form.
Yeah.
How did that transition go from writing novels, writing the comics? How did that?
Well, I got to sit at a couple jobs before the pandemic before the lockdowns, and just daydream about like aspects of the story, you know. I'm a huge fan of history, and some of the most dramatic moments and craziest moments in history are like First Contact. That's where you get a lot of historical characters in history that are remembered too. So you know, I knew it was like this First Contact type of story that I wanted to like really delve into, like the historical things I've learned and all the beautiful things about like human history, man. You know, like just think about it. You know I mentioned the scene of like the pyramid being blasted, but that's That's
that
not a
might be
cool. That's not a
totally.
cool thing. That's a thing for me to demonstrate how fucking evil that person is supposed to be. And because like the idea of like a pyramid half slumped and like poking out of the earth after like thousands of years, like how old is that thing? Oh my dude, like if there's one thing that'll make me genuinely sad and heartbroken, it's like what we saw in the Middle East with the Sumerian artifacts being destroyed by ISIS. And like the Taliban and stuff like that, like
Yeah, yeah.
those beautiful like statues just being smashed. Like that is like the Library of Alexandria, stories like that of just all this lost knowledge and just history. Yeah, it just bums me out. So like that always felt like a compelling place to go with it. But anyway, I got to like imagine a lot of the story just as I read firsthand accounts of like just everything. Really, it wasn't always first contact, but like these firsthand accounts are just so fascinating. Elliot, I don't know if you've ever like just thought of any historical thing that you're fascinated in and just tried to find some sort of firsthand account. Just hearing it from somebody who was actually there, essentially.
Yeah,
Even if they're lying, it's still fascinating, dude. It's still
yeah, because
fascinating.
yeah, we have a bunch of museums here, and for example, yeah, because Lima, where I live, is incredibly historic. There's a lot of wars, a lot of things that have happened over the years, and it's amazing how we've come across on many museums of some people that have been related to these historical figures from the past, and just hearing what the stories that they heard from those ancestors is yeah, it's incredibly amazing. And
Mhm.
just to think like where you stand, or the place that you normally go to, what's once in the past uh, a place where there was people dying, battlefields and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's really interesting. It's really interesting. And
I
yeah,
love
so
it, dude.
I can see where the appeal is for that, and so that's really good.
Yeah.
And so, does that mean that you're going to like find a way to blend this historical events with these events from from your comic, from your story? Is that
Well, kind of. I'm realizing as the more I write, because of my fascination with history, I just cannot help but be inspired by the real world. I often say that the best inspiration comes from real life.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
I'll stand by that, man. If you ever have writer's block, like you're just in a slog, you're in there just like world building like crazy, just pause, shut everything off, go toss on, like I said, a firsthand account. Have somebody on YouTube just like narrate a firsthand account for you. Go toss on a really interesting like documentary about a battle. Do something like history
Mm.
related. Learn about the Roman Empire. I don't know. Do whatever. But like if you dive into history or just like some sort of major event, pick a crusade. Choose your character, Joan of Arc. Shang-Chi, Blackbeard, whoever it is,
Yeah, yeah.
Alexander the Great. Just choose somebody and like find a detailed account of their life because like it is so inspiring. Like there's a reason they call some of these great people great, even though they're terrible. It's
Mhm.
because the story is so great.
It's yeah, grand
Yeah,
scale, epic stories that have,
it's
yeah.
large. Yeah. So yeah, essentially there's a few things that went into the novel or whatever, but like as far as this one, like I said, I came out of that novel um with I learned a lot because after I finished the like it started off as a comic, then I was like, oh, this is actually super efficient as a novel. And I even wrote the novel in an interesting way, like with the perspective of the character and the tense. Um, it was challenging, and which is why it's in editing for so long. But I just want to make sure it's good, right? Just good edit. But coming out of that, having all that, like this entire world established in my mind after that novel, I was able to continue having fun with like history. Uh, and this is the short story that the comic is based off of here on screen, Mortal
Yeah.
Descent on Amazon. But I was able to, with these stories, just kind of pick some other historical events that were really fascinating to me and like dive into them too, because like I think it's clever. I think it's clever for writers to kind of trick the reader into learning, right? I know I've noticed a couple other writers do this. You just like for example, that my comic is based off of it's not based off of it. It's inspired by the story of the Kensington Runestone, if you're familiar.
No, I'm not familiar with Kensington. What?
The Kensington Runestone. There was
okay.
a runestone found in a farm, a field in Minnesota, bro. That's why Minnesota is so obsessed with Vikings. You know, the Minnesota Viking football team, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And not only is there a lot of ancestry from like Nordic countries in Minnesota for immigration reasons, but they also found this runestone that some people debate is a fake or whatever, but I went to the museum and I checked it out, and bro, even if it is a fake, the whole story behind it is so compelling. Like, why not, right? Essentially, it says like, okay, so the whole idea is Vikings never like really made it past the east coast of the United States and like Canada, but this runestone is found in Minnesota, so all the way on the other side of the Great Lakes, right? Which you can get from the ocean up the Great Lakes to the interior. Yeah, you can do it. So think about it. Like the Vikings could have gone there. It's totally plausible. But like the runestone, when it's translated, it basically says, hey, we traveled all the way from what's now Newfoundland. It's Vinland, Greenland, essentially. We traveled all the way here from Greenland. And we left we left like half of our party to while we went over to go fishing. They were just watching the boat, and when we came back, they were all dead, and how they described it, red with blood, is the description. Wow. Yeah, and they said Ave Maria or something like that. So there was Christianity. They were Christian Vikings also, which is an interesting thing. So it was a long time ago, but not that long ago, if you think about it. And it's just fascinating. So it's like they came, they probably did Viking stuff. Let's be honest. They probably did Viking stuff. Or just like not at the very best, they didn't give a fuck about like what they were taking, or like chopping down or burning, or what animals they killed. You know, a lot of indigenous like tend to worship a certain animal, for instance, like especially if it like just symbolizes some idea, like the guardian of the forest or bounty or like fertility or something like that. So like killing it just seems sacrilegious. There's probably something like that involved. Now, this is my band. Yeah. But yeah, they probably came, they did Viking things, and then as soon as the opportunity arose where like the party split up, the Vikings split up, indigenous came and wiped them out, and they made that runestone, propped it up, and probably went home. Or that's where the imagination can start running wild, because it's like, okay, the situation where there's these Viking like people who are from a very far away land, right? And here now I'm basically talking about my story, even though I'm also still describing the story of the Kensington Runestone. So you got these Viking like people that are from a far away land that are now in this place, and this thing happened. What happens then? What do you think happened next, Elliot, when a good chunk of the men that you brought on this, you're basically on Mars. They basically went to the moon or Mars in Viking terms, right? Like it's an alien world.
Undiscovered areas. That's correct.
Yeah,
So
and
I'm assuming they took what they could, or they fought whoever they encountered.
Right, because can you even make it home on that longship if like you don't have all the men available to row? Like maybe you just barely made it because you have that many dudes. Yeah. So when like a good chunk of them die, are you even making it home? And then what do you do after that? Do you just go take vengeance? Do you try to like live in the woods, try to build another longship? Like what do you do? You know what I mean? And the imagination can run wild. That's kind of what I did with my story. So
sweet. So does that mean? Well, I'm sorry. because I was gonna say like how how would you describe your approach for writing? Like, do you have like all this outlined ahead of time, or do you just, as you say now, like to go see where things go and then take your
Uh,
characters one place to another? How does
it's
how
a
do you?
little bit of a blend of both. To really militant really militant writers that are like really drinking the Kool-Aid on like what quote unquote is and isn't good writing, and these are the
Yeah.
rules and stuff like that. Basically, if they're just very stringent on like what they teach you in college, I would say I would probably be labeled as an outliner rather than a pantser. Those are like the two terms, like
Okay.
a pantser
Plotter
and
and Panther. Yeah.
plotter plant, yeah, plotter pantser. So
Okay.
I would be labeled as that, but like it's actually a healthy blend. I think we're all kind of a healthy blend of both. um I do have a certain amount of outlining that happens. Like one of the first things I come up with is a bank of names. I just come up with all my fantasy names, which each of them actually translates into something off of real world languages. um in this case, I tried to stick to Nordic slash northern slash northwestern European languages for the creation of my names. Like for example, the flying Viking ship in this story is called a skistjern. Skistjern,
Skisher.
SKY. Yeah, it's like SKYSTJERNE, Skistjern or something like that. And
That's
that
a
is
Viking
actually,
term.
yeah, it means sky star, star in the
That's
sky.
dope.
Yeah,
I
sky
like
star.
that.
Yeah,
That's dope.
and that's just one example. Each character's name kind of translates like that. It's not like I keep the exact spelling either. I will change the spelling a little bit because I don't ever want like a point where like people are like, oh, that his name literally means this, directly translated into like Dutch or something.
Yeah.
And, like some Dutch person happens to catch wind of it or something, and it just takes them out of the story. So I do change
Yeah.
it a little bit, but every name and place means something because I
Yeah.
derive it from existing languages with which are as close to the inspiration as I can get it, just to be respectful, you know.
Sweet.
Yeah, you
That's
don't
awesome.
want to you don't want to give like one example is the human story in my book. It's basically the annexation of Poland. So
Yeah.
I got to like follow some key events and kind of unfold it under my own under my own terms, basically, with within my world, right, within the rules
Mm.
of my world. um but yeah, like the invading evil empire, the bad guys from World War II stand in
Yeah.
are it's the Fürchten Empire, which is German for fear.
Ah.
Yeah, and I think the Polish stand-ins are like their country translates into like summer festival or something like that.
Sweet.
So it's like the Empire of Fear is invading the summer festival. So it's like, you know,
That's awesome.
yeah, dude, I have fun with
Sweet.
it. I have fun with it. Yeah, but
And
the go
go
on.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I realized I didn't answer all of your question earlier. The process is super interesting of going. I wrote my script, the script myself, um, and which God bless Luke's heart for trudging through all my ramblings. Hey Hojo, what up, man? I
What's
know
up,
you.
Hojo?
Hojo's on my show tonight. Shout outs.
Sweet.
Come to the Pritchard Pub tonight at 8 p.m. Central. But yeah, anyway, uh the adaptation process was super fun to me personally. Some people might find it a little bit dragging to go from novel to basically a screenplay or like a script for a movie. It's because it's not
Yeah.
that different. It's not that different than that.
Yeah. Screenplay to comic, not so much, but like novels to comic, yeah, that's a big change.
It is, and I suddenly I realized I'm like all these places that change all the source material. Like think about Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. He
Mm.
actually did change quite a bit, but it
Mm.
still worked because he kept the right things. He was respectful. He was trying his damnedest. Like that's the thing. You just got to try your hardest and like be respectful. And people will. I mean, they might still criticize where it's due, but they're
Yeah.
not gonna hate you. They're not gonna like deep rootedly hate you because this dude tried or whatever. Um, but yeah, like I started realizing some things kind of have to fall by the wayside, right? Like, because I could just have my entire novel as the little narration text boxes popping up. I could just put my entire novel there, or I could just try to make a freaking comic, right?
Yeah, definitely.
uh,
Yeah,
um,
that's the difficulty of it, is like making sure you get the right image with the right word, and making sure it hits right at the precise moment. Yeah,
I remember my
that's a big challenge. Yeah.
I remember my first, because I do the lettering too, and I remember my first panel that I got from Luke. I excited, or not panel, but like the first page of sequential art.
Yeah.
I got all excited and I immediately went in and I started lettering it and I sent it back to him and I'm like, "What do you think?" I was all excited and even then I thought my lettering was too small
Yeah.
because like my eyes are terrible. So that's actually something I'm realizing is a detriment when it comes to lettering, is just sizing things up. I gotta, you know, I think I have to do a different type of process just to make sure it's all
Yeah,
consistent.
they have like fonts, like set standard of
They
fonts that
do,
you can
they
use.
do, and I'm realizing now I can just make sure things are like each image is the same size and like
Yeah.
just remember the exact size I did in the fonts and yeah it I figured it out by the end because
Yeah.
I have a 15-page preview in Anvil magazine as well, so that's all
Sweet.
lettered and stuff. And by the end of it, yeah, I had a pretty good rhythm. I'm confident to letter the entire graphic novel at this point too, and I've only gotten better since. Like I did this image here. I cut out all these characters, put them together like a Star Wars poster, and then
Yeah, it looks
like
dope. I like it.
yeah, and the whole purpose is just a promotional poster. Like
Yeah.
a couple Twitter accounts thought it was the book cover, and I'm just like, no, the book cover is actually being made right now. I got the first.
The image that I showed you is not the book cover.
No, bro, no, that's actually
Oh,
just
sweet.
a placeholder. I can reveal the book cover right now on your show if you'd like.
Oh, that would
It's
be great.
it's what I have so
Exclusive.
far.
We love
Yes,
exclusives.
yes, exclusive. It's what I have so far of it from Luke Stone. So, but yeah, the process was interesting. You know,
Nice.
you write that script. Once you get past that, it's pretty awesome because
And
you get to become the manager at that point. And you just
sweet.
sit back and you're just judging the art that comes in and making sure it all
Oh,
comes along nicely. Yeah. So let
that
me see
was
if I can zoom in
nice.
here. There we go.
Sweet.
There's the
Let's
zoom
look
in.
at the deets. Nice. It
Yep.
looks dope.
And
And
you
this is
can
the
kind
main
of
character.
this is the old king. This is like
Oh, okay.
the character. You can kind of see the flying ship in there, I think. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
very
There it is.
light. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the moon is going to be in the background. And
That's dope.
th-
That's the nice cover. I like
thanks,
that.
man. It's going to be like the pulp noir cover for
Yeah.
for the oversized color pop edition. On the back it'll be the Jarl, and it'll be
Yeah.
like red on the front with the red moon, and the king will have a glowing red eye like Goblin Slayer, and then on the back it'll be a blue moon with like the protagonist with like snow, like a
Oh,
field
that's
of like a
dope.
blizzard. So like red lightning on the front, it's all red. On the back, it's all white and blue, like this kind of.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. I like how you guys are working that out. And
Oh yeah.
before I forget, what's the creative team? Who's the creative team on this? You're writing, Luke is drawing, you're doing the lettering, the
Mhm.
colors. Who's doing the colors?
So Luke has a team of colorists in Luke
Yeah, he
Stone
showed up.
Studios. I think yeah, he does. I think a couple of them. But the guy behind the colors for this was Edgar Tavitas. I think
Yeah,
it's Tavitas. Um, fantastic,
yeah.
fantastic work. Holy
I
crap!
love this image here. Like I like his colors here. Yeah, really great work.
Yeah, dude.
Great stuff,
There-
man.
There's a couple of them that really stand out too with like the lighting.
Yeah,
The upper right corner, check that out. Check that corner. Look at that.
yeah. That the lightning work. Yeah, that's dope.
That really got me. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
probably
dope.
simple. It's probably simple too, but I don't know. It got me.
But it all blends, it all works together. Yeah, I'm always amazed when cuz I as an artist, I draw the image, it's black and white line art, and then I give it to the colorist, I get it back, and then it's like completely like the colorists add so much more to the image. And yeah, whenever whenever I see comics that are in color, I'm a big fan because it's a it gives you a much more complete image, in my opinion. So
My
that's
goal
good.
for
Good
my
stuff.
goal for this, man, is just 72 plus pages of just glory, just
Yeah, let's
absolute,
do it.
like, I like when you open it, I want you to be like, damn, and then turn the page and be like, damn, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
so
Awesome. And I had a question. You have a 15-page preview you said on Anvil,
yep.
and are you or would you ever consider like having that like as an ash can, or having that maybe like a supplemental on the campaign where people can, or as a, yeah, maybe like an ash can, like a preview book before
Oh, that's
um
interesting.
to get people
So like
or are those pages available on the campaign so people can see what
ooh,
to expect?
that's a good idea. I should run that by Richard. Are you talking about just like something they could view, like, here's the preview right here, look at it, like, kind of
Yeah,
thing?
because if it's a preview, in my just my thoughts here. No, like if it's a preview and you have this 72-page comic, and this is your first book, and people sometimes are like, man, I don't know, because we've also been hit in the last few years. Like we've been getting hit hard by late books, or books that for some reason no aren't finished on time, and things like that. So people are always excited to see like finished pages with text dialogue that they can read, so they can get an idea of what kind of story, or what book that they're getting when they back. So it was just a thought, because maybe you can make that available as a PDF or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
getting previews I think would always be great. What's
that's a
that?
fantastic idea, dude. Fantastic idea. I should run. I actually I will run that by Richard, from Anvil Magazine, and just make
Or
sure it's okay,
maybe or
because we
maybe
do
like
have a
4 pages.
contract. That's the thing. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
yeah. Maybe
That's what
like
I'm thinking. Like, maybe not even the beginning. Just like, let's just jump right into like a few of the really good pages,
yeah,
and like,
because
you don't even need to know what's going on. Just, but like, here's the lettering. Here's some
yeah,
beautiful pages. Yeah, yeah. Um,
I think
I
that would
I
be cool.
do, on the campaign page, I do try to show off some cool stuff, but I was
Yeah,
hesitant because I didn't want to, like you said, it's my first campaign. How much is showing too much before? But then I got to keep in mind there's 72 pages. I could show all 15 and it would not dent the book. Like, who cares
yeah,
if the entire world knows the first 15 pages if there's like 72, over 72
yeah.
of them, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
yeah,
I got it.
I'm planning to update the video on the campaign page, with a very special reading from a very special narrator, a direct excerpt from the book, from the story, and I'm gonna use art that I already have to kind of basically create a digital comic right there for you, so you can get a taste of the story, and
Sweet.
then that's going to be my campaign video. Like, here's the story, um
Nice.
but when I do that, I will definitely I will try to, I'll try to see if I can at least get like a few pages from Richard, or not from him, but like, you know
Yeah, definitely.
is,
Oh,
see if we can
green
get
lit.
it.
No, approved. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. And yeah, here for the people in the chat, I'm scrolling through the page, the campaign page on FundMyComic. A lot of great art, a lot of really good stuff here, and
Hmm.
we can see the colors and everything. Really good stuff. Yeah, you
Hmm.
said that this is the orc story that you had written, but there's also a human and also a reptilian story, I think. Also, yes.
Yep. Yep. The reptilian story, just to really oversimplify things, if this story is the Kensington Runestone,
Yeah.
the reptilian story is the story of Boudica, the warrior queen, and the human story is, like I said, the annexation of Poland during World War
Nice.
II. But in that one, I said it more in like Napoleonic,
Yeah.
just getting into World War One barely kind of time. So it's
Yeah.
like that event, but like dialed back a little bit.
Sweet.
So
And so this is a one and done story. Like this is
yes,
there's not going to be a second.
you jump in, I parade the characters, we go on the adventure, and the story ends, brother. And
Sweet.
and it's
That's
a and
awesome.
it's like, I want all my stories to have family as like a
Yeah,
theme,
definitely.
big time.
I love
So
that.
like, many of these characters are like fathers, like the two main protagonists, the king and the jarl. They're both fathers. The Jarl has twins. The king has his 3 sons with them. And there's a scene, when the king says goodbye, because the whole plot of the story is, the Jarl is promised the crown if he can get the king to a place where he can die peacefully on his own terms, which happens to be in this alien world that he went to when he was younger, like the new world, right? He wants to die in this place. But I digress. There's this whole scene with the king and his sons, and it just like gets me every time, because it's like, my own father is no longer with me, so I feel like this is like also the fatherhood story. Like I realized a lot of my subconscious insecurities about being a father and chasing dreams at the same time kind of came out. Like the choices the protagonist makes, like it's like, he's chasing ambition, but he has his sons along. Like, what is really the most important thing, right? I'm parading all these characters and I'm telling you what their great deeds are. I'm telling you what their greatest deeds are, but the whole entire time their children are right over there, debating with the rest of them. Those are the most important things, right?
Definitely.
So,
that's awesome, man. And go ahead and finish. I thought you were gonna...
Oh, that's it. I can just keep rambling about fatherhood and stuff. I just realized a lot of my own insecurities came out, like even the old king kind of reminds me of an idealized version of myself with like my dad, but he's not perfect either. Like when he says goodbye to his 3 sons, like one of them, the youngest, really doesn't understand, much like younger siblings wouldn't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He just gets angry, so
that's the thing that I really miss about, or that I have always wish were included more in the media that's coming out nowadays. There's like a lost sense of family. Like parents die, and there's a lot of orphans, and even in comics like Spider-Man, Batman, they don't have their parents, and so I think it's really important to show that side of family, because family is important. Family does influence decisions one makes, especially being a husband and father and having that role. So it's really good to see what that dynamic brings. So it's really interesting to see that, and that's sounds great that you're including that in the comic.
Yeah, dude. Every
Excellent.
story. Yeah. Like I said, that evil quote unquote pirate queen shooting the pyramid or whatever that I first saw in my mind. She is now like a musician and pregnant and just kind of a stowaway. You know what I mean? She evolved so much. It's so crazy.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The pregnant thing though. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so we're hitting about the hour mark. Or is please tell us, where can we find you? Where can we find you at socially, on social media?
Basically, all social media is going to be just AC Pritchard with
Okay.
underscores. So A_C_Pritchard on everything, except for I think Discord is no underscores. My YouTube, which you'll find Elliot on at some point, and Hojo on tonight, is Pritchard Pub. So go check that out. That's 8 p.m. Central, excuse me. And you can find our entire podcast archive with edited audio, as well as like past episodes of like Iron Seas, which is my other show,
Sweet.
on Substack, which is pritchardpub.substack.com, which leads to Spotify and all that. And of course, fundmycomic.com/ASOS. This is like the most important thing I've done so far, in my opinion, more than the 20-song discography, playing live shows. None of that matters as compared to this, in my opinion. Like being able to give this to my son would change my life, to be honest. So
that's awesome. And the Pritchard Pub, you said, is on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central.
Pritchard Pub is Thursdays at 8 p.m. and Iron Seas is the Iron Seas podcast is Tuesdays. So it's
right.
Iron Tuesdays and Pub Thursdays. So
that is right, because today is Thursday.
Yeah.
I thought today was Wednesday for some reason.
Yeah, that happens to me.
I know why this happened, because normally I host a show on Wednesdays, but I've got different time thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're glad to have you on Fun. Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. And
thanks, Ojo. You're the man.
Yeah, Hojo's an example of running a campaign. Like you should if he's got any advice to give, you should listen to Hojo because
So you're like the third or fourth person. So okay,
yeah,
when
Hojo's
bro, Hojo, when people come up to you like you're the new guy, I like to think people kind of, I kind of like did the right thing when I joined up. Like I don't think anybody hates me as far as I know is what I'm saying. But like when the new guy comes up and everybody you run into is like, yeah, you should probably talk to Hojo, probably
yeah,
probably talk to Hojo. And then on top of that, funny thing, Hojo was actually supposed to be on our show already.
yeah.
But the last time, me and him just ended up shooting the shit and talking backstage like for like an hour and a half. So when you see the
Sweet.
thumbnail tonight for tonight's show, it's actually a really old one from like our 14th episode that I just decided to use. I was like, that's funny.
Nice.
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna use the old thumbnail because
Yeah, because there was an idea, a trend back in the day or well, a few years ago that any creator that wanted to do anything important in the indie scene first had to have a YouTube presence, had to which influenced the reason why I'm doing YouTube. But
nah,
they had to be on YouTube. They had to do this. They had to do like these steps of things. And then Hojo just said, "No, I ain't doing none of that." And he
right.
came through and he put out his book, The Mythicals, and great success. And Hojo hustles like nobody's business, man. He does. I'm a big fan of how he promotes his book, and great stuff, man. Oh yeah, Hojo. Yeah, no. Now you have two books under your belt. Yeah, you're
Not
not
the new
you're
guy
not a newcomer.
anymore.
Yeah, you're not a
Yeah, not
newcomer.
anymore.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
veteran Hojo. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
And
For real.
yeah, veteran in both aspects of the word. No, because he's also a veteran for
I
real.
think I
So
hit him up a while ago to comment on a movie
yeah,
thread or something because I was contacting veterans for a review I was doing just to have them
mm,
weigh in. I can't remember what movie it was, but yeah, and I can't remember if he weighed in. Some of them respectfully declined, which I understand because I think it was the nature of the movie. It was kind of war related.
yeah.
So yeah, I totally
I'm
get
a,
it.
I'm always down for commenting. I love watching movies, and it's just like it's my thing. But like the number one thing that keeps me from doing anything more than what I already do on social media and on YouTube is time. Like I can't, like I have
Yeah.
as you understand this, and you're a father and a husband, so there's always things
Yeah.
we have to do. You
Yeah.
think you did one thing, but then oh you forgot that other thing, and so
Oh,
and you
to
have to
my detriment sometimes, brother.
yeah
It's
yeah
like, oh, I stepped in that poo, didn't I? Damn.
yeah, yeah. So definitely. So it's always like I wish I had more time to do more stuff, but I have
Yeah.
to make do with what I have. So yeah, definitely. What's up, Mo? What's going on, man? I haven't seen you in a good minute. Good to see you. And
No bigs.
yeah, just before we log off, I wanted to before we sign off, I wanted to make a few announcements because
Yes. Do
I
it.
haven't been doing the show for a long time. It's been like I think 6 months since my last show, and I'm not officially back. No, so I'm not going to be doing streams on schedule because right now my focus is almost is 90% my comic. Um, for those of you that have been following me on my channel, like you know that I do. I'm working on my comic Ominus. Here is the physical copy. This is something that I got printed for myself, but it's not available in physical form yet. I only have it in the digital
Ooh.
format, so you can get it for $5. Just hit me up in Twitter. For anybody in the chat that's interested, and but so yeah, so I'm working on my comic. This is just a short 10-page preview of it, and I'm currently doing the writing process. This is how I do my writing, and I'm actually writing. Like I'm actually done writing, and I'm almost done
Sick.
with my I actually do like writing and stuff. So I'm almost done with this.
Beautiful, dude.
I put out a post a few days ago, about a week ago, that I'm on page 60 something, and I'm almost done with it. I have the last few pages to work out. I'm doing thumbnails and I'm doing all this other nonsense, writing stuff out. Um, so yeah, so just similar like AC, I'm also a plotter. I want to make sure that everything's laid out before I start drawing because
Yup.
once I start drawing, that's all I want to worry about.
Yep.
So yeah, so this has kept me away from YouTube for a while, but I mean it's going to be the same. So I don't have a set schedule for my shows. I have today's show, which with AC, and I also have scheduled another show for next week, Monday. So next week Monday. Uh, what's up, Dave? Yeah, you're right on time. I'm about to end the show. Just like yeah,
Woo!
and yeah, old fashioned writing on paper. Yes, exactly. Yeah,
I've
that's
heard that. I've heard from
yeah.
other writers that that is almost spiritual and
Yeah,
at
yeah. You
minimum
have no
therapeutic.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
enjoying the mess writing this stuff. I did like I was stuck on like page 20, and then I just I did what you did. But just write and write,
Yep.
see whatever happens. And then
Yep.
I got into the zone, and yeah, I'm almost done with this now. And so I'm going to be dedicating more time to getting the comic done. And so yeah, so I'm going to have shows sporadically. They could be Thursdays, it could be Mondays, Tuesdays. I don't know. But my next show is next week, Monday at the same time at noon Eastern Central, no Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry, and I'll be interviewing Ace. I think you know who Ace is. I'll show this to you guys. Ace is the creator. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be interviewing Edwin. He's the creator of Ace.
Ooh.
So
Yeah,
we're
I've
gonna be
seen this
talking
cover.
about
This is a beautiful cover.
yeah, we're going to talk about that on Monday. On Monday, I'm talking about this, and then yeah, who knows? Who knows what other shows may come up? If anybody out there is interested in shilling, hanging out, yeah, please contact me. And yeah, apart from that, also July 13th, I'm going to be in the Red Valkyrie Underground Art Auction, and I have a lot of art to show off. But just today, I want to show these pieces off that I'm going to have available for
Hell
anybody
yeah.
interested.
Hell
This is
yeah,
some
dude.
old sketch cards of the turtles.
Sick.
You'll be able
Dude,
to bid on these. I did this with the old school vibe to it.
your
Let's see,
style's so
Bernardo
beautiful,
there.
dude. I absolutely love it. It's so good.
Thanks,
It's
man. I
good stuff.
appreciate it. There's
Like, there's a reason
Raphael.
I hit you up. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. So if anybody wants to get these, they'll be up at the auction on July 13th. I'm at the 4 p.m. 7 p.m. slot. So tune in and bid, and I'll have these available along with a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to auction off. But yeah, so thank you very much. I'm working on Ominus. Yes, you saw the trailer at the beginning of the stream. I'm going to show the trailer again. Please be sure to follow me on social media. Hit the like button. Hit the like button, please. And yeah, so I'll have all of AC's information in the description. As I mentioned earlier, I thought it was just Fund My Comic, but he's got a lot of things that you've seen. You got Facebook, you got Substack,
Yep.
you got Fund My Comic, you got a lot of other, and he's got his own personal website. So all that information, I'm going to update as soon as I'm done
Oh,
with
thanks,
the
man.
stream. So yes, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, AC, to have you on. Hopefully we'll do this again. Hopefully we
Yeah.
get to hang out some more.
Can't
And
wait to have you on my show.
yeah, actually, the next we are going to hang out somewhere. We're going to hang out
Yeah.
again on your show next time,
Yeah.
and
It'll be great, dude. I
and the
can't wait.
roles, the roles will
Yeah.
be switched,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm going to be answering all the questions. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So thank you very much, guys. I will see you Monday at 11. No, wait, Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and that's it. You guys be safe. Take care,
Take care.
and we're out.